Congressman Lloyd Smucker from the 11th Congressional District, who joins us about this time every month. Congressman Smucker, great to have you in this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Gary. Always good to be with you.
My honor. I saw last night $3.1 trillion over the next decade social welfare and social infrastructure spending bill went through on a partisan vote. No Republicans voted on it. Democrats voted for it. I see Democrats down in Texas on voting fled Texas and went to Washington to line up and hold hands and sing Kumbaya, while Republicans wanted to try to push that bill through. Again, partisan voting and partisan running, if you will. My question for you this morning, this partisan governing that we seem to be seeing in our country, is it working for all the people of this country right now, this partisan kind of look at things? I mean, I think partisanship has its place, but the whole idea was that we come together on bills at the end. It doesn't seem like we're doing a very good job on that generally around the country right now, be it the state legislatures or on the congressional level. Your thoughts about that?
Well, listen, I think some of the policies that we're seeing out of this Biden administration, partisan policies, aren't working for anyone. We have seen just in the last few days the consumer price index for the past month, which rose 5.4% from the same month last year. It's
right.
The biggest jump in 13 years. Everyone is feeling the impact of these disastrous policies where they are just printing money to pay for these programs that you just described. And, even Treasury Secretary, Democrat Treasury, previous Treasury Secretary Larry Summers warned about the inflation that will come as a result of the massive expansion of the money supply. And we're now seeing that. And my fear is that this, which really feels like a tax hike. It basically is that, where people's dollars just simply aren't able to buy as much. So their real wages are going down. In fact, their real wages, by the way, are going down under Biden as a result of this inflation. Inflation is rising at double the rate of wages right now. And so these are policies that we've been warning. When you massively expand the federal government, when you disincentivize work, when you literally create dependency on government, when you look to government to try to provide everything that middle-income families need, it's going to require massive tax hikes, and it doesn't work. It's socialism. And we're beginning to see the results of that right now. So, no, this is partisan politics at its worst. It is self-described socialists in Congress who are driving this agenda, who are looking at this as an opportunity to move the country to a very different economic system than what you and I have enjoyed. And so, no, this is a disaster. And we have to stop this kind of massive growth of the federal government.
Congressman, there are so many benchmarks that I'm looking at around the country. Crime waves in places like Chicago, San Francisco. I saw in San Francisco where some of the stores are just closing down because people are going in and stealing. I saw Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez come out the other day and say, well, maybe that person needed that stuff, that somehow justifying that somehow stealing could be okay there. We're seeing a lack of respect for police right now because of some of the things that have happened over the past year and a half, and people trying to defund police departments. And now they're saying, oh, well, wait a minute, maybe we were wrong. Let's put it back. Inflation, you mentioned higher prices starting to be seen more clearly, 5.4% inflation in June, highest rate in 13 years. We're looking at things like there's not enough drivers to haul agricultural products around the country. We're looking at a shortage of workers everywhere we look. I mean, there are a lot of benchmarks right now that we're looking at. And when you look at the policies that are being enacted at the moment, they all seem to be policies, maybe some good intentions there, maybe some political intentions there, but I think the outcomes that are happening for all people in this country aren't necessarily good. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think right now, I have never seen more divergent views in regards to what direction to take the country. And it really is about ensuring that our kids and grandkids have the opportunities that we had to achieve our own American dream. I mean, this country was founded on ideas that created more opportunity than ever before in the history of mankind. People, by the way, around the world know that. And even though we have this woke culture, critical race theory, people who believe that America is a bad country and was founded on bad principles, even though there are people right here that believe that. You just look at what's happening in Cuba right now, where they're trying to throw off decades of repression and move to a system like in America. So even people around the world recognize what we have had here historically, and that this is worth fighting for.
Well, as I tell people all the time, you don't see people running from the United States coming up on the beaches of Cuba. You don't see people rushing across the border into Mexico. You don't see people rolling up on the beaches of Vietnam like boat people did some years ago. You don't see that. So there must be something about freedom and liberty that's okay. One of the things that we're talking about an awful lot, Congressman, has been this voting thing. I saw the president, of course, was in Philadelphia yesterday talking about this, and he said something that was kind of interesting. But unfortunately, again, politicians tend to get hypocritical from where I'm sitting sometimes. And he said, quote, "If you lose, try again," talking about the election. "Don't say that it was stolen," unquote. And he was referring, obviously, to President Trump and the victory that President Biden had over President Trump in the 2020 election. But I'm thinking back to 2016 when President Trump won, and immediately we start to scream about the Russians somehow stole the election. So I guess it just depends on what side you're on at that time, different place, but still same hypocritical kind of point of view. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we absolutely cannot be in a situation where the losing side believes that the election was not conducted fairly.
Correct.
And you're exactly right. We saw that for years when they tried to do everything to
discredit
for President Trump was interfered with by the Russians. But to your question on convenience and security of the election, we have to do both. We really want to ensure that everyone has the opportunity to vote. That's the foundation. It's what makes America great. The idea that everybody's vote counts and we can elect our leaders. So we want to ensure that people can go to the polls and can make their voice known. But we also want to ensure that every vote is counted legally, and any vote that's not legal is not counted. And in fact, that's as critical to making it convenient to vote, making sure everyone has the opportunity to vote, or people won't vote. If you and I believe that our vote won't count, or that something is illegal about the way the votes are counted, you're just not going to show up to vote.
Yeah.
And so that election integrity is foundational. It's critical that we do it. So we can do both, and we must do that. It's important. By the way, that should be completely bipartisan.
Yeah, and
that should be one area that we all agree that everyone should have the opportunity to vote, and everyone should be able to believe that their vote was counted correctly.
Yeah, I said this morning, if you're the winner, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, if you're the winner and people don't feel good about the fact that you won, or there are a lot of questions, man, as the winner, I want to clear the deck on that one pretty fast. But I think you also said something there too, Congressman, that it's important here in our final moments, that you need to strike the balance point between security and convenience, okay? Our vote has always been convenient, but, our vote also comes with responsibilities in changing times where, identity can be stolen and all those kind of things. We recognize that in our daily living with banks and airports and all the places we have to go to show ID and that kind of stuff. I think we need to recognize that. Congressman, always good talking to you. Appreciate you taking the time to be with us this morning, and thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Have a good day.
Have a great day. Congressman Lloyd Smucker with us here on WSBA Morning News with Gary Sutton.